Blaze 96.3.
The way to start your Saturday projects every week. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome into Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Glad to see you this morning. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We are. We're excited to be here. Vance, good morning, brother.
Caught me off guard. How are you this morning?
I am tired. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, God is good, and He has.
Talk to that microphone.
Talking to the microphone. Yeah, that's
Thank you.
Always important. Let me see if I can hear myself. Yeah, there we
There
are.
you go.
All right, so we
You
got
are
that
live.
going on. We are live, loud and proud this morning. We are. We've had an interesting few days. We have been sick, unfortunately, and
Even the cat was sick, right?
even the cat was sick. And I didn't know this, but when we first got the kitty, she had a lot of matter in her eyes,
Oh, wow.
and a lot of discharge. Like her eyes were watering and so forth and so on, and so anyway, we had that going on, and so then she began to cough and sneeze and carry on. So we took her to our vet. We got a great veterinarian at Blaine Veterinary Clinic, and so we had that going on. And the end result is that they said she has an upper respiratory infection, and so we said, well, what are we going to do about that? And they said, well, we can do two things. You can either try to give her medicine twice a day. We're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That she's a rescue, and we're the third family that finally kept her. She got returned twice. And so we're like, yeah, that's probably not going to work for us. They said, well, we can, just like when I went to the Doctor's Black in Benton when I was a kid.
That's where I went.
Oh, yeah.
I think everybody went there.
Everybody went there.
Remember Nurse Zoe?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't stand that woman. She always gave me the shots.
Yeah. And they used to think that if they used the word injection,
yeah,
that we didn't know what it was.
Right.
I heard the word injection. I could have went 6 rounds with George Foreman to come on.
Yeah.
I hated shots when I was a kid. And if they was going to give them to me, they was going to fight me.
I'm the same way today. I don't like shots. I'd rather have a tattoo.
Well, I've got to where I don't care, except I want them in the arm. Don't give them to me nowhere else. Just give me a shot in the arm,
right.
and it'll all be good. I don't know why this is saying private. Click here to hear the sound when a new unread message comes in. Okay, well, let's do that. Let's add that. They've changed every time I get going. They change my feed on the streaming part of it, and so the end result is every time I get ready to start on Sundays, I can't hear or see nothing. So I don't know what I've done to it, but needless to say, we're trying. So we'll make that happen. Xavier, good to see you in this X this morning. Melissa, good to see you in this morning. Thank you guys for joining us on the program. Appreciate that. Xavier at Weekend RV Center, your place for all things RV, and Jonathan, not Jonathan, Tyler and Josh and Kenny and the whole team down there. What a great job they do. They're hiring, by the way. And I know that you've sent somebody that way, brother. And
I've tried.
So we'll see what happens. For some reason, my chat's on private. I don't know why that is. There it is. Now we're back. Good morning. Glad to see y'all here. But, you know, this past week, as we were getting to think about what we're going to do for our future, I picked up the phone. I called Weekend RV Center, and you know, answered, and I asked him, I said, hey, what's a 2013 Keystone Avalanche worth? He said, hold on just a minute, and I'll tell you. Bam, gave me the number right there. So I knew what I was looking at. Asked me the questions. What about this? What about that? Does it have this? Does it have that? This is what the floor plan says. This is what this. If it was me, this is what I'd pay for it. As we think about moving from a tag along to a fifth wheel, because fifth wheel has that additional ceiling height, and you gain some space. And you know, we've pretty much decided that it's me and Mama and the cat, and you know, not quite sure what we're going to do yet, but that's one of the things we're looking at. We're looking at modular housing. Got a meeting this week with Ben from Preferred Living Custom Homes. Got that coming on this week, and so we're excited about that. New sponsor in the program this morning, and we're going to talk about them a little bit. They're going to be coming in. Costa Oil, right here on Chapman Highway. Jesse and the team, Chris out there, assistant manager. What a great job they do.
They're really good people.
They're good folks. 6537 Chapman Highway. Go by and see them today and tell them you get that oil change done quick. Stay in your car. That's what I like. I like to stay in the car. I don't want to have to get out and huff it across the point. I like it sounds like a Army drill team with their hood open, cap off.
They do, don't they?
Yeah. You know, they tell you everything they're doing and put you in the system and take care of you, treat you like family. And Chevy went with us this morning, that day. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Chevy went with us, you know, our little Palm.
Yeah.
And they took a picture and put it on Facebook. I shared it to our Facebook page at Rick's house. And they went back there, and she said, Jesse said, can he have a treat? And I'm like, yeah. Absolutely. So they went back and got some milk bones, brought them out, and his teeth, I mean, he looks like he's a puppy, but he's 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so his teeth, he's starting to miss a few, you know, and we take him to the vet and have everything done we're supposed to have done. And
no dentures?
No, but he's got that claw up on his arm, you know, that.
Oh, yeah.
What do you call that thing? There's a name.
Claw on his arm.
That claw on his arm. He's got that. I don't know if it irritates him because he will pull on it. He's tried to pull it out.
Oh my gosh.
And he will pull on it, but what happens is he pulls the teeth out.
Oh no.
He don't whine or nothing. He just, you know.
My goodness.
Whatever that claw is. John, good to see you this morning. Thanks for joining us on the program. Out in Bakersfield, California. Good to have you on this morning, brother. I got your email. Just hadn't had a chance to respond to you. I'll do that here maybe today, brother. I didn't want you to think I'd forgotten you. Amy and I've been sick this week, and Kat was sick. Take care of the vet. We were sick, but what I was telling you about the cat earlier is, did you know when they have that excessive stuff in their eyes, where their eyes are watering, they're getting it like sleep. You know what you say, like sleep matter in your eyes. That's the first sign that they have an upper respiratory infection.
Really?
Yeah, that's what the vet told us.
Huh.
So we got her squared away. She's doing good. And but yeah, my lovely bride and myself have struggled this week with not feeling well. So y'all bear with me today. I feel better. Don't look any better.
No. I mean,
well, you know,
never mind.
Well, if I was as good looking as Vance, I wouldn't have to worry about it.
Well, exactly.
You know, if I had that man beard, I'd feel, you know, I hadn't shaved in this week. So as you can tell, I'm about to get a beard.
Yeah, it looks like
going on. Hey, Leah, good to see you, girl. I hope you're doing well. Tell Shafi we love him. So good to see everybody on the program this morning. Got a lot of stuff for you. Now, here's the call-in line. If you want to call us, we'd love to talk to you today. Don't have any guests today. We just me and Vance and you. And that's what we're talking about. Our call-in line today is 865-577-4885. If you want to reach us in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios, it's 865-577-4885 here on Praise 96.3. And as usual, you can text us. If you prefer to do that, I wish you'd call in, but you can text us. We like that too. 865-255-3911. 865-255-3911. Again, Costa. I think that's how you say it. Costa. I
believe it is.
Costa Oil, 10-minute oil change, 6537 Chapman Highway. Go see Jesse and Chris and the whole team down there, and they're going to take care of you. Y'all going to change your filter. They're going to make sure you're up and running. And even
They'll check your fluids and top them off.
Do everything. And then we had a rattle underneath the Prius. Now, if you'd have told me that I'd ever drive a Prius, I'd told you that you were not right.
I'm telling you, you need to put a sign on the back of that that says, "Who's laughing now?" with these gas prices.
But you know what? I ain't laughing because 55 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
I'll take that all day long.
Yeah, but there's still the whole Prius thing.
You know, it drives good. Hey, Jim, good morning. Good to see you in with us this morning. You know, it's got more room in it than my Toyota Sienna van had in it in the driver's area.
Wow.
Now, the secret to a Prius is if you're a man of larger persuasion, which I'm getting smaller all the time, but I'm still a man of larger persuasion. The secret is you got to back into the seat. You know, you can't just try to step in there you normally do and put your leg in and then swing in there. You can't do that.
Swivel.
Yeah. You got to sit, you got to back up and sit down and then swivel. And then you got all the room. You got all the room in the world. I mean,
wow.
And it rides good. Of course, as I'm backing up, Amy's going, beep, 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 beep. And I'm like, what are you doing? She says, well, you're backing up, you know? So, we got that going on this morning. So lots of stuff to talk about. I got a bunch of information for you today. You know, last week we had Roof Max on, and what a good job they did.
They did, really.
They did a great job, and it was good to talk with them and understand their process of what they do and understand what they do. And I think there's opportunities there for that product. I was reading last night and yesterday as I was doing show prep about the 13 things that you never pressure wash, and a roof is one of those. Now, they don't pressure wash it. They use a soft wash because we don't want to wash those granules off, you know, so that's an issue. But yeah, enjoyed having them on. Sonia and was in here with us and just did a really good job. So enjoyed chatting with them about their product and what they do. And so we appreciate that. Also, it's going to be a Baker Boy pizza day. I'm just telling you right now, it's going to be a Baker Boy pizza day. It's time.
That good.
And yeah. And it may be, Vance, it may be a wing day for you. I don't know.
I think I'm going to wait a couple of days.
You know, wait a couple of days on the wings?
Yeah. Just to make the wings.
Just to get that anticipation.
Yeah.
And to get everything up and running. Yeah, that's
They'll
right.
be happier to see me when I get them.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, our brother, we'll check on him in a little while and make sure he's doing well today. What a good job they do. I'm just glad to see their business grow. And you know, it's an amazing thing I like to go into a place where they're happy to see you.
Yeah.
Care
they
about
let you know as soon as you walk in the door.
As soon as you walk in the door, you know, if bam, it's right there. Yep. I mean, they do a fabulous job. Like I said, I got a bunch of information for you today, a bunch of things to talk about, and I'm just going to give you some information and you know, most of all, we'd love to hear about your projects, what you got going on. Like I said, the team down at Weekend RV Center, you know, man, they're slammed. Go by and see them. They got a new fifth wheel in, and X put it on the Facebook page, and this thing's got two master bedrooms, one with a queen, one with a king.
King in a camper?
In a fifth wheel. And It's got two bathrooms in it, plus a living space, and everything under the automatic leveling, everything under the sun, 63,000. I mean, come on.
Wow.
And I asked him, I said, is that price right? He
No
said,
doubt.
yeah. He said, it is. He said, if I tell you what, he said, this is a great deal. He said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, all jokes aside, he said, I'll put this up against a $100,000 camper any day of the week.
Wow.
So as more people realize that, you know, as we've been looking for property, which is the hardest thing, I can't believe what property sells for. And I look at these houses and they pop up on my email, and I thought, well, that's about that's a $100,000 house.
Yeah. For
$499.
Yeah.
You know, the average price of a medium income household in Knoxville is $430,000. How do you do that? How does that happen?
I don't know. Yeah, that's
You know,
crazy.
It's insanity.
Downtown, one efficiency apartment is like $1,800 a month.
Absolutely.
Not
You know, and
more.
I look at my son and his bride, and as they're getting ready, he's getting out of the Army, and they got a baby on the way, and I'm thinking, how are they going to do that?
I know.
You know, I don't get it. But that's where we are. We're going to take a time out and get that first one out of the way here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. When we come back, we're going to talk about a couple things that I didn't know about till recently. What's the difference between a GFCI and an AFCI? We're going to talk about that coming up on the program. We're going to tell you where they go and what they're for. We're going to talk to you about a lot of things today. I want to tell you about them ain'ts and what we've done about that. And the most important thing is we're going to talk to you. You're listening to Rick's House. It's Saturday morning, and we love you, and we're glad to be here. Hang on, y'all. We'll be right back. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing. Quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.
Got a question? Rick's got the answers for all your home improvement questions. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. And your Praise 96.3 FM live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. Praise 96.3. Thanks for joining us on the program, whether you're listening to us on Facebook, watching us on Facebook. Maybe you're on the Praise 96.3 app, or maybe you're listening to us in your car. Thank you for letting us be part of your Saturday morning from 8 till 10. Good time for me to tell you about our friends at Cozy Mountain Cabins. Anita and the team out there, man, what a great job they do. And you know, we enjoy so much, you know, everything that, you know, that we get to do. And Gina Daniels joined us this morning on Facebook. Good morning, Gina. Good to see you. If you need parts for that skid steer, that Bobcat product, then call Gina at Bobcat in Knoxville, and she'll take care of you. And she is a fellow dog lover, Lance.
All right.
And she's got her fur babies and just all around good gal. We appreciate her. But Cozy Mountain Cabins, Anita Foster, if you're looking for a cabin, she's got about 18 properties. She'd love to help you, whether it's in the Arts and Crafts District or Pigeon Forge or Cosby or wherever. Rick Worthen, good to see you in there this morning, brother. Hope you're doing well. Cozy Mountain Cabins, 865-660-0340, 865-660-0340. Or you can find them at CozyMountainCabins.com. It's Cozy with a Z, CozyMountainCabins.com. Before the timeout, you know, I didn't realize, you know, we all know about GFCI, or as a slang term for a shorter version, GFI. And we know that the code requires us to have GFI, or GFCI as it's properly pronounced, outlets in areas like your bathroom and your kitchen, your garage, or certain places, anywhere that
Near water, right?
near water that water may be introduced into the equation. But have you ever heard of AFCI?
No, is that some new law enforcement?
It sounds like it, don't it?
Yeah,
It sounds like one of those shows. Well, there's NCIS New Orleans, NCIS Miami, NCIS Los Angeles, NCIS Maynardville,
Maynard.
NCIS Seymour.
Oh my goodness.
You know, I mean, I look at regular TV and my goodness, they're you know, there's all those. The only one I watch is NCIS New Orleans. I like that one because it's got that kid on there that was the kid in Sling Blade, the actor. He's grown up now, and he's country as cornbread, and I like watching him. So, but a GFI is put so that, you know, if like Vance was in the shower and somebody throwed a hairdryer in the shower, then the GFI would kick and keep him from being.
My wife has done that. I'm kidding. I am kidding.
We're kidding. But obviously, if something happens where it's GFI stops your GFCI stops you from, it monitors the circuits for electrical faults, shuts the power off to the device when they detect a problem. And the thing about it is, and here's something else that you need to know, and this is something we've talked about on the show. Matter of fact, when Sonia was in here from Roof Max, we talked about we don't do maintenance on our houses like we should. You know, smoke detectors are good for 8 to 10 years. Then you got to replace them. That device has a time limit on it. It has a amount of time. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't see an expiration date on ours.
Yeah, absolutely. They're designed, depending on the manufacturer, 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
Okay. A GFCI ground fault circuit interrupter. How about that? Pulled that right out of the old brain.
Wow.
Can't do that again.
My poor brain can't even fathom that.
But if those get triggered, every time they get triggered, there's a spring in there, and that spring is what pops the button out and cuts the circuit when it detects a ground fault. Every time that happens, that spring gets weakened. So if you've got a GFCI that's popping regularly, obviously there's a short somewhere or there's an issue. Once it does that a few times, then a lot of times it won't stay on. So those are items that you have to update.
Wow.
In a period of time. And these are things that we don't think about. These are things that we don't do. Nobody tells you, hey, you need to do this. Like nobody tells you that you need to, on the back of your washing machine, where your hoses go in, and if you have those black rubber hoses connecting your hot water and your cold water, please go and get you a stainless braided hoses and put those on, because those rubber ones are not good at all for any period of time. But when you do that, be sure when you take that hose off, there's 2 little filters in the inlets for your washing machine
Oh yeah.
that need to be cleaned. You know that very
Yes.
well,
Yes.
Vance, because you come up from you grew up in the appliance business.
Uh-huh.
Those are things we don't do. There's also some additional filters on your washing machine that require cleaning that you don't do. I saw an article yesterday that said, what do you do? What causes your ice maker in your refrigerator to make gray ice?
I wonder.
And I looked at that, and it had a picture. It had a gray ice cube and some white ice cubes. And I'm like, what in good gracious, what in the world is that? Well, there's several things. It can be that your filter needs to be cleaned. It can be that your filter's wore out and the charcoal's coming out of it in your filter for your water in your refrigerator. I mean, there's all kinds of things. So there's all kinds of little maintenance items that if we don't pay attention to them, we're going to have issues. Same with your GFCI.
You know, with the water we have here in Knoxville and surrounding areas, you're better off putting a filter in that line for the water going to the ice maker, or just a whole house
Well, just like when we had
filter.
David on from Clearwater, Aqua Clearwater.
Yeah.
You know, and we got the question from Lisa on the program that said, is my refrigerator filter good? No, it's not. Folks say, oh, the light come on from my filter. Well, I got news for you. Your refrigerator don't know if that filter's dirty or not. It just comes on after a set amount of time.
Just like a lot of service engine lights.
Yeah, exactly. And so we have those things happening, and so those are things you need to be aware of. Now, what is an AFCI? Well, GFCIs are ground fault circuit interrupters. Okay, and so the difference is ground faults protect you from shock. They protect you from, they shut the system down so that you don't get shocked electrically. If there's a short, if there's water introduced, whatever's happening. But an AFCI is to protect you from a fire. They shut the circuit down, and their job is to prevent fires. GFCIs protect people from shock. Now, you can't use one for the other because they have 2 completely different purposes.
Right.
And it's pretty hard to tell the difference between the 2, although they are marked on the front of each one. But the new NEC codes, that's the National Electrical Code, comes out every 3 years. And now an AFCI, which is an arc fault circuit interrupter.
Wow. Say that again.
Arc fault circuit interrupter. Can we say it 3 times fast? No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to. It's a Christian station. I'm not going to do something that's going to get me tongue tied. But they're required now. Almost every room in newly constructed homes required AFCI protection, including bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, kitchens, laundry rooms, hallways, and closets. Basically, the only places you don't need an AFCI are bathrooms and garages, but that's where you have a GFCI.
Right. Yeah. No need to have them both.
You know, my dad was an electrician, and I started learning a little bit about electrical work. Devin, good to see you this morning. Devin Holland, doorman deluxe, knows his business. My dad told me, he said, you're the only person that I know that could get shocked if the breaker's off. So he said, I think you ought to choose another career. I said, well, I think I'll use my mouth to make a living.
Look how that worked out.
Yeah, boy, I'm telling you, what about that? You know, so it's important to make sure that you're up to snuff, so to speak, on what the codes are and what's happening there. Arc fault breakers, important part of what's going on. The other thing is, you know, we talked a lot on the program about manufactured housing. We've talked a lot about mobile homes, modular housing, custom modular housing, and all those kinds of things. And everybody says, well, you know, I don't want to live in a trailer because, you know, they burn down. Well, the reason that happened in the 70s is because they used aluminum wiring in the walls, but the fixtures were designed to work on copper. Now, if you bring aluminum wiring into the main panel of your electric, which we all do, from the pole to your house, you have to use what's the best word to use? You have to use a compound on that where it mounts to the copper to stop the chemical reaction that happens between copper and aluminum.
Wow.
And if you don't do that, it will eventually corrode itself so much from the chemical reaction that it will break apart or cause a fire. So these little things are important, and they're important that you follow those rules and find out if you're going to remodel. There's a lot of remodeling going on older mobile homes. If it's got aluminum wiring, you need to change those fixtures out.
Right.
You got to have a separation between the aluminum and the copper, or you're going to have dissimilar materials. Same thing goes through with your plumbing. I can't tell you the times I've seen a water heater hooked up aluminum wire to copper, and that's a nightmare. So that's something that you have to take your time and realize these little things that make a huge difference. Debbie Campbell, good morning, girl. Good to see you in there. You know we love you. So thankful for all the listeners that join us each and every Saturday on Rick's House here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios.
Oh, it is Saturday, isn't
it? It is. I feel like it's been a long Friday.
Yeah.
As we've been fighting sickness this past week. I want to talk to you a little bit about drywall. When we come back from the timeout, we're going to talk about drywall and sheetrock and how does sheetrock differ from generic drywall. I mean, these are things that I had no idea about, but as I was doing some research yesterday, I'm going to share a few facts with you. It's going to be interesting. We're going to learn together. I don't know everything there is to know about home improvement. I know a lot about it. I know a lot about construction, but I'm learning something every day. And so hopefully I can pass that on to you and make your home improvement project go better. Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. It's Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios at Praise 96.3. Hang on, youngins. We'll be right back. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM,
Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com.
Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios, Praise 96.3 FM. Our call-in line today is 865-577-4885, 865-577-4885. You can always send us a text message at 865-255-3911. We'd love to hear from you this morning, and whatever your home improvement project is. And remember, the only silly question is the one that you don't ask us, because I promise you somebody else wants to know the answer to that question too. And so we look forward to hearing from you. Now, this is a topic that I've never talked about on Rick's House before. And in this being our 24th year of talking about it, I began doing some research about this. And then I thought, well, I'm going to read that, memorize that. And then I realized there's just way too much for me, for my 56-year-old brain this month. I'll be 56 July 31st.
Bless your heart.
I'll be almost as old as Vance.
You'll never catch me.
You ahead, ain't you, Daddy?
I am.
You in the lead. Excuse me. So I'm going to read some of this because it's really informational, and the only way I can get everything to you is by reading that. And the question is, and this comes from Family Handyman, one of my favorite magazines in the whole world. They're not a sponsor of this program, but they do have some great information. And I can't tell you how many emails I get a day from, what is it?
You want more coffee?
No, I'm good. Thank you, sir. I'm still working on it. It's keeping me from coughing, thank goodness. The question is, what is drywall? Drywall is a wall covering consisting of a hardened gypsum paste sandwiched between two sheets of paper.
Wow.
Which we know.
Oh, yeah.
Now, here's what's interesting. Civil War veteran Augustine Sackett invented the earliest incarnation of what we call drywall in 1894.
Wow. I remember that. That was big. That was big back then.
What was you, about 14?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Traditionally, wall interiors were covered with wet plaster, as you very well know. That's a technique that creates a smooth surface but requires multiple coats and a steady hand of an experienced installer. So what they did is they laid small strips, thin strips, across the studs that were running vertical.
Yeah, right.
They put that on there, and then a person mixed up a plaster, and they spread it on there and skim coated it until they built it up enough to make a smooth surface. And it really took a touch.
No doubt.
You know, that's either you can or you can't. Either you can finish drywall or you can't. I happen to be really good at that. I can't hang it very good. I never could. But I can finish it really well. And I was taught by someone who had been doing it for years and years and years. And matter of fact, just 2 weeks ago, I patched a bunch of houses in my friend's house, a bunch of walls in his house that they'd moved stuff, and the toilet paper holder had pulled loose, and the towel rack and all those kinds of things. And I went in and did what it took to fix that back. So Sackett's invention, stacking alternating layers of gypsum plaster and paper, letting it harden into a solid sheet, then hanging it directly on wall studs. Gypsum is a mineral that hardens into a solid that's a durable material. The new invention was called Sackett board. But over the years, it picked up nicknames. Plasterboard described its contents, wallboard described where it was hung, and drywall differentiated it from wet plaster walls. Oh, they're coming after us, Vance. Lock the door.
I've got the duck.
So, morning, Brian. Good to see you this morning. Sheetrock is a brand name for a specific brand of drywall. Now, this is important because we use brand names to describe certain things. For instance, Sheetrock is a brand name for drywall. How many times have you heard a carpenter say, grab my skill saw? Skill is a brand. Okay, that's a circular saw. And there's many brands of them, but Skill was kind of the first one to do that. So in reference, skill saw is what we will say. I'll say, hey, Skylar, grab my skill saw. He knows what I mean, but that's not the proper use of the term. So sheetrock is a brand name for a specific brand of drywall, but it's also used as a generic term for drywall, much like another example. Kleenex is if I say, bring me a Kleenex, bring me give me one of those Kleenex. Well, you know that I'm saying, bring me a facial tissue. Well, Kleenex is a brand. It's not what it is. Facial tissue is what it is, but Kleenex is the term that's we use for that kind of same thing. The same thing with Q-tips. Q-tips are a cotton swab, but there's several different kinds of several different brands. But we'll say, hey, give me a Q-tip. Can you hand me a Q-tip? You know, so we use those terms because they're the most familiar to us in what we're doing. Miss Irwin, good to see you this morning. Miss Irwin, my art teacher from high school, did a fabulous job. Good to see you, girl. In 1902, the Sackett Plaster Company merged with several other businesses to form the United States Gypsum Company, known as USG. Now, if you go to Home Depot or Ace or Lowe's or any big, or even Walmart, who's becoming a huge home improvement place, they are expanding into the home improvement world like crazy, and reaching into that market. If you go in, you will see USG products. You're not going to find sheetrock there, but you're going to find joint compound made by USG, which again is the United States Gypsum Company. They made a major design improvement to Sackett board in 1913. I mean, I didn't think we had gypsum board till like the 30s or 40s.
Who'd have thunk it?
This was invented in 1894. When, according to USG, the two interior plies of paper in the board were eliminated, leaving a solid gypsum core between the top and bottom sheets, and was rebranded as adamant board. Adamant board was essentially modern drywall, but sales didn't take off. So USG sales representative D.L. Hunter suggested a rebrand to the name sheetrock. Hence, a sheet, the gypsum material that hardens, another sheet.
Yep. Instead
of sheet, gypsum, gypsum. So he rebranded it into what we call today sheetrock. 100 years later, the term has become ambiguous that many people use sheetrock to mean any kind of drywall. Now, Family Handyman says we prefer drywall as our generic term. Drywall became increasingly common in the commercial construction, especially at the 1933 to 34 Chicago's World's Fair.
Wow.
I mean, this history just amazes me.
No doubt.
I mean, would you have ever thought that sheetrock's been around since 1894?
No, I would not.
I wouldn't either. It took until the 1940s before it became to be widely used in American homes, and that's where the story comes in. Several places around the United States claim to be the site of the first residential drywall installation.
Well, of course.
Yeah, everybody's trying to get on the bus, Gus. Make a new plan, man.
Okay.
One of the earliest is Colonial Hills in Ohio, a neighborhood fast-tracked for development by the Defense Homes Corporation to provide residences for industry workers during World War II. Kind of sounds like Oak Ridge, don't it?
It does.
You know, in Oak Ridge, the whole city was designed by engineers.
Right.
And
right down to the auto dealership.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a bunch of them out there. And so when the engineers designed that, they designed streets that go one way in and have roadside parking. You had 4 different houses, an A, B, C, and D plan. It was designed so it was community. So you had your churches there, you had your grocery stores there. It was designed for the people that worked there to be able to live there and have a community. And it's still that way today, honestly, if you look at it. As part of the hurry up, the government insisted on wallboard rather than plaster. The result was a community that may be the first residential neighborhood built with sheetrock. Now, this was by the Defense Homes Corporation in Colonial Hills, Ohio. 70 years later, as a contractor working in Colonial Hills, this gentleman met a woman in the neighborhood. She told me she lived in one of the first homes in America built with sheetrock. Now, I can hear a construction guy not be smitten with that opening line. He married her.
Okay. How funny.
Oh, so a little story.
He married her for the sheetrock.
He did. He married her for the sheetrock. He said, that girl's she's progressive. We're going to take our next time out. When we come back, we're going to talk about how sheetrock differs from generic drywall. And then we're going to continue into that conversation. I just find this so interesting when we see how these things have progressed through the history of construction. And not only that, how our country progressed with the innovations of home improvement. We'd love to hear from you here in the Praise 96.3 Sanders Plumbing Company studios, 865-577-4885, 865-577-4885. We'll be right back. Hang on, y'all. Now listen, if you've not been to Baker Boys, have y'all tried Baker Boys pizza yet? Oh my good gracious. Let me tell you something. It's on Cherry Street. If you get off on Cherry Street and turn toward Magnolia, and you'll see Baker Boys down there on the right. He's got a 30-inch pie, like not even got in my van and got the door closed. That's what I'm talking about. And I'm telling you, a slice of pizza feed 10 kids. Baker Boys Pizza is the place. I'm telling y'all, go by and see them and tell them that we sent you. And they're going to take care of you. They're going to be proud to see you, and they're going to be glad to feed you and your family. Great place for after church on Sundays. Go by and see the team at Baker Boys Pizza and tell them that Rick's House sent you.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
The way to start your Saturday projects every week. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us in the Praise 96.3 studios. That's the Sanders Plumbing Company studios when Rick's House is in the house. Vance and I wishing you a very happy Saturday morning as we deal with a little rain and a little that kind of stuff today. But, boys, we needed it.
We do need some. We could use some more rain.
We could use some more rain. We're way behind on the rain thing. And before I tell you what the difference, how sheetrock differs from generic drywall, it's a good time for me to tell you about when Amy and I were on the road. And as many of you know, we lost two of our children in a car wreck and almost lost our third child, our middle son, along with his best friend who survived. Once we got him well and got them both well and got back and got them through school, and he decided that he was not going to play football at Carson Newman, where he had a scholarship, which I was very proud of, and also an academic scholarship, which I was very proud of, which we'll get to see him today. He'll be in town, so we're excited about that. I hope he don't get in the mess over at the airport. Did you see that yesterday, Vance?
I didn't, but nothing surprises me over there.
Well, evidently, there was a Microsoft update.
I did hear about
for the
that.
airlines.
Yeah.
And when I turned the news on yesterday morning, the lines, they'd canceled flights for Allegiant and Delta and everybody else. And the lines were backed up completely through the airport and all the way outside.
Wow.
And they said there was no parking. You know, of course, they're changing their parking. They're redoing the way that's done and everything. And I talked to him last night, and he said, I said, have you checked your flight? And he said, no. I said, well, you better to see what's going on. But I will say this, because he's coming home. He'll be here a week, and he's got to go back as he's transitioning out of the Army, and he's moving into a job, an internship with one of our local car dealers. And the Army is paying. He will train and learn what he needs to know about that. And the Army pays him to do that for the last 6 months that he's been in there of his 6-year term. And the employer gets to try out an employee and train them without having to invest into that. And what a great thing that is.
That is awesome.
And, you know, there's a lot of employers. I was telling Pete about that, Pete Sanders. And he was like, man, I got to get in on that. You know, that's what an awesome thing. Because, you know, the Army's got plumbers too.
Yeah, they do.
And so do the other armed forces. And so he and I were chatting about that. And do you know that the Army now is offering, they give maternity leave because he and his beautiful bride, Kira, who's fabulous, have a grandbaby on the way for us, little Leo. We're excited about that. And he'll be here sometime in August, late August. And so we're all excited about that. But he was going to book his flight. And so he was checking flights, and they asked him if he was a veteran. And he said, well, I'm currently active duty military, and I'm flying back and forth to visit my wife who lives in Knoxville as I'm transitioning out of the military. Delta said, well, you don't pay for your ticket.
Wow.
Delta Airlines furnished his tickets for him to fly to see his bride because of his military service and serving abroad.
Wow.
That's pretty strong, y'all.
Yeah, it is.
And so there's still some companies out there,
Patriots,
that are patriots. And I just wanted to recognize that this morning. He went to boot camp. We went and saw him there, and then he went to South Korea for 2 years. And he's a crew chief on a Black Hawk helicopter and has flew all over the world helping people. Basically, when he was in South Korea, they were, he can't tell us what he did, but for the most part, they were helping, the U.S. military was helping people in villages that needed medical assistance, elderly folks, get to the hospitals. So our military does a lot of good, and so
They really do.
just wanted to make mention of that. Like I said, he really enjoys telling me. I'm like, well, what are you doing, Dad? If I told you, I'd have to kill you. So he keeps it close to the vest, as he should. Now, how does sheetrock differ from generic drywall? The writer says, as much as I enjoy my own connection to sheetrock, there's not much difference between sheetrock and any other type of well-made drywall. But the qualifier of well-made is critical. Poorly made drywall can be brittle and crumble too easily, plus have serious issues. Now, this is something that I experienced as a contractor and as a builder. Hey, Melissa, good to see you this morning. I don't know if you're going to get to ride bikes today with the rain, but always good to have you on the program. We're going to get Melissa on the program as she battles some health things and has a really great story and is really creative, and we'll have her as a guest in the near future. In the late 2000s, I was building houses and remodeling and doing all those things that I did for many, many years. And I experienced this firsthand. I was fortunate that I used a company that used USG products for all of our sheetrock work. But I saw this firsthand. I myself did not have a personal experience with it, and that was just nothing more than dumb luck, just being honest, because you build relationships when you're house building, and as Arlen told me on a show previously, we've retired a lot of salespeople in the building trades. That's not what I do anymore, but it's what I used to do.
You don't retire anymore?
Oh yeah, I'm well on my way to retirement, except for unless my mouth breaks. In the late 2000s, low quality drywall produced emissions that impacted thousands of consumers. Now, this was a big deal. Toxic off-gassing, that reminds me of you, Vance, for some reason. Toxic off-gassing caused health and respiratory issues, along with corroded pipes and electrical systems. Ultimately, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, found these Chinese-made sheets.
Oh, wow. That's never a good thing.
Chinese-made sheets were manufactured with sulfur and other chemicals. Now, the truth is that because we had a shortage of products, it's just kind of like when after top of the hour, I'm going to get into a whole nother thing. And this, I don't get political. I don't talk politics. I don't talk any of those things, but I'm going to just give you some facts because I lived through it. But when this happened, they were outsourcing sheetrock from Chinese companies. Chinese companies do not have the same regulations about toxic chemicals as we very well know that we do. If you don't know that, ask the folks in California. They'll tell you about how much the reason they have all these EPA issues and all these things that they do about cars and pollution and all that kind of stuff is not always because it's just how certain groups of people think. It's because they experience a lot of toxic things that come across the ocean from our neighbors in China that make it to California and create all kinds of hazardous issues because they do not have in those other countries the regulations that we have. And I've experienced that firsthand. So what was happening was we had whole houses that had been constructed that were off-gassing, Vance.
That was a dog. It wasn't me.
That's a great. I'm going to just let that lay. I'm just going to let it lay. Just let it lay, Rick. Don't go there. Just let it lay. But we had these toxic off-gassing that came out of these chemicals that they used to make this product, and it was so bad that it was actually corroding the plumbing in the walls, the electrical wiring in the walls, and literally there were whole houses that had to be torn back down
Wow.
to the framing from the inside. Everything removed, trim, sheetrock, everything finished, torn all the way back down. Insulation had to come out of the walls. Everything had to, all that stuff had to be redone because of this one product.
Wow.
That was inferior.
What a nightmare.
So we've said that sheetrock is to drywall as Kleenex is to facial tissue, and that's true. Most of the time, you probably won't notice the difference between the brand name and generic replacement. But I do know, and this is I'm reading, quoting, when I've got a runny nose, low-quality tissue feels like sandpaper. So if you're in doubt, opt for the known quantity of sheetrock or another quality brand like CertainTeed or Georgia Pacific's Tough Rock. All sheetrock is not the same. And that's a little history lesson on sheetrock that I thought was pretty interesting. Sebastian, good to see you, my French brother. Glad to have you in the program. Now, when we come back from the timeout here at the top of the hour, we're going to share some stuff with you. I've got a little tip for you on how to keep ants. Is that how you say it, Vance? Ants.
I believe it is.
Out of your dog food or your pet's bowl. We're going to talk about low-E film. This is something we've talked a little bit about. And if you're in the travel trailer business or in the mobile home business, this is something that's going to be really informational to you. And then also, we're going to talk a little bit about French drains. Sebastian, we're going to talk about those French drains. So when we come back, we hope you'll join us. Our call-in line is 865-577-4885, 865-577-4885. As always, you can text us with your question, 865-255-3911. That's the Rick's House text line, 865-255-3911. You're listening to Rick's House. It's Saturday morning. We're live. We want to talk to you. Rick's House from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. Hang on, y'all.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite.
Hey, y'all, being from the country, I've learned one thing for sure. The difference in experience can make the difference between a good job and a bad. That's why we choose August Excavation for all your excavation needs. Whether it's pouring a footing, laying out a footing, pouring a concrete driveway, excavating a basement, or whatever your excavation needs may be. August Excavating. Call them today, 423-736-1402. 423-736-1402.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing. Quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.
Don't let do-it-yourself become do-it-to-yourself. This is Rick's House, the home improvement show.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to the Sanders Plumbing Company studios of Praise 96.3 FM. Your Praise FM. Vance and I joining you this morning for Rick's House, 8 to 10 Saturday mornings. We try our best to bring you the best in home improvement and talk about RV living and all things home improvement. If you have a question, man, we'd love to hear from you. 865-577-4885. 865-577-4885. Also, you can text us on the Rick's House text line at 865-255-3911. You know, for 20 plus years, Amy and I have been eating at Senor Taco.
Tacos.
And the way I found out about Senor Taco was we were living behind the post office on Broadway in a tent. No, I'm just kidding. I set myself up for it. I couldn't help it, Vance.
Well, that's okay.
But actually, we owned the first house on the left behind the post office on Washington Pike, 1433, and we remodeled that house. And then I sold it to a buddy of mine who was a builder. And it had 2 additional lots behind it, and he ended up putting duplexes on there, or townhouses for the nurses that worked over at St. Mary's, because
Wow.
that area was, I had a lot of rental property over there back in the day, because, you know, nurses are your best renters because they have to be within 30 minutes of the hospital. And they're never home. They work all the time, and they make good money and they pay their bills. And so we built a lot of 2-bedroom stuff over there and remodeled a lot of houses and so forth. And did that. But while we were building there, I was going by Senor Taco, which is in front of Fountain Lanes, which is a place I grew up as a kid, because my mom and my mama and all her friends, and Vance, you in that club?
I'm in that club.
They all bowled.
Yeah.
In the women's bowling league. So I spent a lot of time at the bowling alley.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I understand.
And they had a daycare at the bowling alley. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. When you went into Fountain Lanes and you went left and went by where you get your shoes, the counter, if you go down toward the bathroom, there's a door there.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
And that door goes up a set of stairs.
Yeah.
And in the top of that set of stairs, they had a daycare. So moms that had kids that wasn't school age could come and
send them
upstairs, and mom could bowl and all that stuff. I'll never forget my grandmother. If she'd have lived one more day, she'd have been 100.
Oh, wow.
And she was something else. And she was married for 20 something years. And then her husband, my grandfather, was he was a politician, and he was actually assassinated. And that's a whole nother story.
Whoa.
And they were from Kentucky. And so she moved to Knoxville. And I asked her one time, I said, Mama, why have you never dated? Because she was young. She was a young woman when that happened. She said, honey, I've only loved one man in my life, and he almost killed me, and I decided I didn't want another one.
Wow. Okay.
So that being said, but I love to watch her bowl, because she would go real slow up there, and her hand would drop, and it's just like that bowling ball was so heavy, it would drop to the floor, and then she'd pick it up, and then her reflexes were slow, so she didn't let go of the ball till it was about head high.
Oh, wow.
And so when it hit the lane, is a big thump, and then you could watch the ball. Womp, won't,
Yeah.
won't. And you're wondering, is it going to hit the pins, and are the pins going to stop it, or is it actually going, or is it going to knock some pins?
That'd be funny right there.
So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that time.
My parents were in the Wallace Memorial Baptist Bowling League.
Well,
So-
now we're going to share some history. My grandmother lived on Schubert Lane, right across from
Right there at it.
Wallace Memorial.
Yeah.
And she was a faithful member of Wallace Memorial Church from day one when she moved to Knoxville until the day she passed, and played tambourine in the senior citizens band
Wow.
at Wallace.
That's awesome right there.
Yeah. So they probably knew each other. I'm sure they did. But
Oh, no, we never went to church there. We were just in the bowling league.
oh, well, that's where my grandma went. So that's all good. But all that being said, I had another story that was relative to that, but it's left me now. So we'll go with that. But I remember now. Why did I go to the kitchen? Oh yeah. I was going to get something to eat.
One of those things.
So when we were living there, there was a little pizza place, and we were poors, just like every young couple is getting started with kids and all that kind of stuff. But there was a pizza place on the corner right there. You get a $5 pepperoni pizza back in the day, and I don't even remember the name of it, but it was across the street, across Chillicothe Street, not Broadway, from Senor Taco. So I kept seeing Senor Taco, Senor Taco, Senor Taco. And it's something about Mr. Taco didn't really strike me as,
Quality.
Yeah. So I went in there one day for lunch, and oh my goodness.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. That business is family owned. And it's a dad and brothers and sons and a whole bunch of family, and they absolutely have become dear friends of ours. They're from the Puerto Vallarta region of Mexico, where they do great seafood. We've been eating there 20 years. They've been open like 22, 23 years, something like that. But when we were traveling out west, it's really hard to find Vance's favorite thing that he eats with Mexican food. And what would that be, sir?
That would be the chicken and rice with queso.
With queso.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. You can get the chicken and rice, but they're going to put cheddar cheese on it.
No, thank you.
And I asked Luis, who runs Senor Taco, the manager there, if you go in and eat Senor Taco, tell him Rick's House sent you. You heard about him from us. I asked him about the white cheese dip, and he said that's something that is regional, and it's something basically that they created for us in America, and that a lot of traditional Mexican food does not use the white queso. When I was out west and Amy and I were traveling, we had a really difficult time finding the white queso dip. I mean, very rarely would we find it. I mean, it was just difficult to find. You just couldn't eat it. And I kept telling them, listen, y'all, I'd call Luis at Senor Taco, listen, brother, y'all got to open a branch out here. Y'all got to open a restaurant out here. Y'all make a killing. And so, but that's something that is, regional to us here in our part of the world.
Yeah. No queso. No, I'm not living there.
No, thank you. When they start getting into Tex-Mex, that ain't way. It ain't happening. But anyway, Senor Taco, and then also Nelson runs Cancun in Halls,
Mm-hmm.
which is a sister company,
One on Chapman Highway too.
and then also Cancun on Chapman Highway. So 3 locations. Roberto, who owns all that, was a salesman and worked for, as if I may be speaking out of turn here, but this is the way I remember it, was a regional guy for Western Steer and Western Sizzling steakhouses.
Western Sizzling, man, brings back some
Broadway,
tasty memories.
Western Sizzling on Broadway. Go by Sunday brunch. Go by and go through the line, get that butterscotch pudding. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Yeah.
Friday nights after bowling.
Absolutely. So go by and see them at Senor Taco. Call ahead and they'll have it ready for you. They do catering, 865-688-0306 for Senor Taco, and 865-377-3675 for Cancun. See
All right.
Nelson at Cancun. See
Awesome.
Luis at Senor Taco. Tell them Rick's House sent you. I appreciate it. And it's important when you go see one of our sponsors, please tell them that you're there because you heard about it on Rick's House. That helps us a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, so many times they don't know that we've said something or we've steered you that way, and just let them know. I'd appreciate it. It helps us, and you know, they like to know if what we're doing for them is working, and we like for it to be working. So give them a holler and just tell them, say, hey, I heard about you on that program from that fat man on Saturdays. And by the way, we've had a lot of folks that have been asking me about my weight loss. And I got really frustrated with that for a while because I had hit a plateau. Now, since I began my weight loss journey, and I'm going to share this with y'all, which was before I went to the surgery, I have lost 172 pounds.
That's amazing.
Now, it's taken a while. Since I have had the surgery, I've lost over 125 pounds.
Man.
I didn't weigh for a month and a half, and I weighed a week ago. And since my last doctor's visit, which was a month and a half prior to that, I have lost 26 pounds. So it's the greatest thing I've ever done. I would highly recommend it. If you want to know more about that, you can hit me up at rickshouseradio.com, or you can hit me an email, rickshouseradio@gmail.com. And many folks are amazed that I went to Mexico to have it done. And I'm going to tell you, those guys know what they're doing. And it was a great experience for us. So if that's something you're interested in, I'd be happy to chat with you about it and hook you up with their website and help you. It's the greatest thing I've ever done. I should have done it years ago. So all that being said, let's go back to low E film. Now, as you know, when it's 100 degrees outside and you live in a travel trailer or a camper or a modular home, not a modular home, but a mobile home or those kinds of things, you're basically living in a tin can, and that requires energy efficiency, and they're making those things a whole lot better. But we have put energy film on our windows because they're single glass, metal windows, single glass. So they're conducting a lot of heat, and we've got blinds that cut all that out. But low E film or low emissivity film on your window surfaces will reduce that heat transfer. And in the article that I'm sharing with you today, it's a sustainability technique that the modern day sustainable builders incorporate their work for sustainable environment. Now, that's a bunch of fancy words that mean it's going to reflect radiant heat. When you talk about windows and you talk about energy efficiency, windows energy efficiency are measured in several different ways. But one of the ways that we do that is the R factor. And the R factor is how efficiently windows reflect radiant heat out in the summer, back in the winter. Same with your insulation. So when you hear, I have R11 insulation in my walls, I have R13 in my walls, I have R38 in my floor, or in my ceilings, that's the way we govern how efficient that works. The more efficiency, the higher the number is, the better efficient it is. Now, we're going to take the next time out here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. But when we come back, we're going to jump into this topic of low E film and how that can be efficient to upgrade the windows that you have that are not. You listen to Rick's House live in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. Hang on, y'all. We'll be right back.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690. 865-599-1690.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. And let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Piper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com.
Want the good, the bad, and the ugly of home improvement? You found it. This is Rick's House.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House, live from the Sanders Plumbing Company studios. Praise 96.3, your Praise 96.3. Our phone in line today is 865-577-4885, 865-577-4885. You can also text us at 865-255-3911, 865-255-3911. We'd love to hear from you either way, whichever way works for you. We appreciate you being part of what we do. And before we continue our conversation about window film, I just wanted to say that last week and the week before, I shared with you all that my dear friend Ricky Bernetti, who is playing the drums on the Rick's House theme song, and who's been a dear friend of our program, and a dear friend of us for 20 years or better, was in the hospital. He had gotten better and had moved to rehab, and I saw his wife had posted yesterday that he had had a setback and was back in the hospital. And then late last night, I got a phone call from his granddaughter, who's a wonderful young lady, and it does not look good for my brother. So he'll be going to heaven to see Jesus, and he's a good man. And so I would appreciate any prayers for Sophie and Carrie and Robin, and also for Ricky. And I'll let you guys know next week how that turns out. But like I said, just keep that family, because he is the matriarch of that family and the leader of that family, and it's a tough time for those young folks, and for his bride of 53 years. So I wish y'all just put him up in your prayers and just pray for comfort. And
53 years.
53 years.
Almost as old as you
are. Yeah, I'm older than that. So much so that, you know, they have a great love story, and I'm sure he would not mind me telling this. They grew up in Washington, D.C., and he went to a high school across town. His dad was a barber, and somehow he ended up meeting her. I don't know where, but he ended up meeting her, and she went to a high school on the other side of town. And he wanted to play the drums, and his dad wouldn't buy him any drums because he didn't want to listen to all that noise in the house. So he took Baskin Robbins ice cream buckets, empty, from the Baskin Robbins store, and made him a drum set with that and pots and pans and everything else that he could do, and learned to play drums and taught himself to play drums.
Wow.
When he met Robin, they went to different schools. So he, without his parents knowing, used his friend's address who lived on that side of town and transferred schools so that he could go to school with her. And hence the beginning of a fantastic love story.
That's amazing.
Isn't that awesome? So,
It really is.
so just hold them up in your prayers, y'all. Jason, good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. So back to Low E. The way Low E works is, you know, in windows, in new vinyl replacement windows or wood clad windows or all the windows that we have now, Low E is a standard. I mean, Low E argon is a standard. Low E is low emissivity coating. That coating has layers of a metal or metallic oxide that reflects the heat while still allowing the light to pass through. And of course, the result for that is a more comfortable, energy efficient home, but still with the light that you love. Now, the Low E coatings give a slight gray tint, and some people don't like that. That's one of the disadvantages to it. But the energy efficiency, if you take a single pane of glass, and when I was selling windows back in the day, we had a light kit. And so you had single glass, insulated Low E, insulated Low E argon glass, and you had a red heat lamp. And so the way that you displayed that was you turned the heat lamp on and you put a single piece of glass in front of it, and you couldn't touch the glass because, I mean, the heat would just come straight through it. You know, it was hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you took that out and you put insulated glass in there, and same thing. It got just as hot as it could be. Then you take that out and you put the Low E glass in there, and ooh, that's a lot better. You can touch the glass. And then you put the Low E argon filled insulated glass in there, and the one side of the glass is hot as it can be on the outside, but on the inside it's cool to the touch. And that's how we displayed the difference in what Low E argon does. Now,
you said that had a gray tint?
Has a slight gray tint, yeah.
How many shades of gray?
I don't remember.
Okay.
So, but it does. It has it's kind of a smoky look to it. And that's a kind of a disadvantage. But so if you're tinting existing windows, obviously you can't put the argon in there. Argon is a dense gas that's 6 times the weight of oxygen, and it helps with sound deafening, and it also helps with energy efficient qualities. You lose about 75% of that in an insulated glass unit over 20 years because the gas is dense, but it's also small enough that some of it can evaporate through the seal and it dissipates over a period of time. But it's still well worth the investment because it's not very expensive. But the Low E is what actually gets the job done with the majority of it. The article that I read said that it was difficult to find Low E glass tint that you couldn't buy that you could buy that was not put on by a professional. Obviously, if a professional puts it on, that's great, and that adds a lot of cost to it. But I will say that I have not had any difficulty finding that. So I don't know that I necessarily agree with that synopsis of it being hard to find. But again, it's about comfort. It's about UV protection. Now, ultraviolet light is what is the UV rays are what hurt our eyes. That's why you have UV protection in sunglasses. It can damage your skin, burn you, preventing it also can fade carpet, drapes, couches, anything that's in front of it. That is an issue. And so what happens is the Low E offers UV protection, and it will block up to 99% of UV rays.
I think that'd be worth a little bit of gray tint.
Absolutely. It
Yes.
makes a huge difference. You talk about Low E coverings versus window insulation, and so window insulation is what we utilize to make a good airtight seal, because draft is your enemy. Draft is what causes you to feel cold, to feel hot, to everything about you. And it's great for that, but it doesn't do anything to help with the transfer of radiant heat, which is the R factor. And so that's what Low E film is involved. It's a process. My wife's really good at doing it. She's done the windows in our travel trailer, which made a huge difference, because when you're in El Centro, California, and it's 117 degrees real temperature, not feels like, and you've got 3 air conditioners going and you're still burning up, we decided that some Low E was very helpful to go on to that. And there's not much maintenance. I mean, you can use any standard glass cleaning on top of it and just use a microfiber cloth, or a 50-50 vinegar water spray and a microfiber cloth to clean it. But it's a great way to maximize the energy efficiency of the windows in your travel trailer, your house, your home, whatever it is that you're doing. And so it's good money spent. You're not throwing good money after bad. You're actually solving a problem and solving an issue. And so I would recommend it.
And getting rid of that draft. Must be a draft in here today. It's kind of hot.
You think it's hot?
Well, it might be because you're here.
Well, I do kind of brighten up a room when I come in. Yeah.
That
was
ray of sunshine.
Yeah, I'm just that blossoming ray of sunshine this morning. That was a stretch.
Yeah, I think the rubber band broke.
Yeah. I told you guys this past week that we were fighting ants. And of course, someone called in and told us about frogs. Pest control. We're trying to get them to come on the program. And by the way, we're going to be welcoming in 2 weeks our newest sponsor to the Rick's House program in Miracle Method, Chris Stacy and the team
great.
at Miracle Method coming on with us, and we're so excited about that. They resurface tubs and can do your tile, can do your countertops, and just does a great job. And Chris has got an awesome story. He built NASCARs for many years. He's a veteran.
Wow.
And so we're excited about them. Talked to him last
He's
week.
been busy.
He's finishing up a big job at the University of Tennessee, recoding a bunch of stuff for them. And then he'll be in and be part of the Rick's House team coming starting August 1st. So
Looking
we're
forward to
excited
that.
about that. And also got a meeting this week with our friend Ben over at Preferred Homes Custom, Preferred Living Homes. I think it is. Did I butcher that enough, Vance?
Yeah, let's just go with preferred.
Yeah, Preferred Living Homes.
There you go.
Custom division, and where they build a custom modular house, and been looking at their product, and man, what a great job that they do. And so we're excited to share things with you that can help you find that affordable housing that's energy efficient and built well and built right. So we'll be having them on too. So we're always growing. If there's somebody that we need to know about at Rick's House, or you'd like to like for us to have them on, like we did with Roof Max, I'll pick up the phone and call them, and we'll give them an opportunity. It doesn't cost them anything to come on once, and we'll give them an opportunity to come on and tell their story, and we'll do our best to vet them here on the program, and that saves you from having to do it. I'll do it for you.
That's right.
And I know the questions to ask, and
I'll help.
And Vance will help. He likes to help. And we'll do that for you. That's why we're here. We want do it yourself to not become do it to yourself, and we want to help you with whatever your project is. We're going to take that next time out here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios at Praise 96.3. When we come back, we're going to talk about them ants. And then we're going to finish up with French
How many
drains.
times have you said that?
Well,
You're just really building it up, aren't you?
I'm working on it.
Just to talk about ants.
You know, there's 40 different kinds, species of ants.
I think they're all outside my house.
Yeah, they are mine too. We're going to talk about that coming up. You're listening to Rick's House. It's Saturday morning, and we're glad to be with you. Hang on, y'all. We'll be right back.
Hello, this is Pete with Sanders Plumbing Company. We've been your local trusted plumber since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing. Quality service from quality people. Call 922-9175.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show on the road. Let me tell you about my friends at Knoxville Salvage and Old City Kitchens. Joel Popper and the team there have been friends of this program for a long time, and they want to be your friend. Friends, they have got the best cabinets, the best products. You say, Rick, is it seconds? No, everything's first quality. They do have some seconds if you want to get a deal, but not on kitchens and not on about everything they have in the store. So trust me, they're part of our team. They want to be part of your team. And in this environment where building materials are going through the roof, they're going to have the best prices on the best products in Knoxville or anywhere in the surrounding area. Call them today. See them online. KnoxvilleSalvage.com, OldCityKitchens.com. A Rick's House favorite. Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, host of Rick's House Home Improvement Radio Show, right here on 96.3 FM, Praise FM. Let me tell you about my friends Tyler and Xavier and the team over at Weekend RV Center. Whether you're looking for sales or service or parts or storage, they're the team that can make that happen for you. I trust them. They've been there with me when we were on the road all over the United States, and they'll be there for you. They can work on your RV. They can take your RV in on a trade. They can sell you a new RV, but most of all, they're going to treat you like family. You're not dealing with some big corporation. You're dealing with local folk who want to do a great job and take care of you. Weekend RV Center, 865-457-4424, 865-457-4424, or find them online at weekendrvcenter.com.
Hey, y'all, this is Rick Allen, and let me tell you about one of my favorite companies, Top Septic. If you need a new drain field, or maybe you're having a problem with your existing drain field, or maybe the septic tank just needs to be pumped, they are the folks that can handle it for you. They know what they're doing. They're an American-owned company run by a veteran who wants to give you the type of service that you're expecting. Top Septic. Call them today, 865-599-1690, 865-599-1690.
Got a question? Rick's got the answers for all your home improvement questions. It's Rick's House. Home improvement advice done right.
Good Saturday morning to you. Welcome back to Rick's House. Thanks for joining us on the program. Appreciate you being part of the Rick's House program on Saturday mornings here in the Sanders Plumbing Company studios of Praise 96.3. Praise 96.3, your Praise 96.3. We appreciate you doing that. Did I say 96.3, Vance?
I didn't hear it.
Before the timeout, we were talking a little bit about we have been dealing with ants, as we say from where I'm from, and we basically were just overrun with them. We're on a farm, and there were ant hills outside, and we had big black ones and little black ones and little red ones and all kinds of different kind. And one of the things that we had talked about on the program was that, there are different types of ants that eat different types of things. And I had said last week that, and I didn't know this, there are ants that like sugar. There are ants that like sugar in one time of the year, and then they like maybe starches the other time of the year. There are ants that like protein. So basically they love dog food, and so it's just so interesting to me because we have a built-in pantry. That's basically a 2x3 closet that we have everything in. And so we had a bunch of stuff down on the floor, and I picked all that stuff up. We were cleaning it out to reorganize and do that. And oh my goodness, there were ants just went everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about hundreds of them.
That's horrible.
And so I was like, oh my goodness. And so my wife's like, I got the stuff for that. And so a natural remedy that you can utilize, and we had already read this, and she keeps this made up in our house. Essential oils are really a good thing to keep around the house. And my wife keeps that. And so she combined lemon oil, what's the word I'm looking for? Water, vinegar, lemon oil. What's the other one? Oh, shoot. I can't remember the name of it, but several of these essential oils, and put them together. And it's on the tip of my tongue, Vance, and it'll come out in a minute. Lavender oil. Lavender oil is something else that she combined it. And so I started spraying that stuff and spraying these ants, and obviously dispatching of them as we were doing that. And since we've done that, I ordered some ant bait traps, and we've put those out because you want to get your traps out and not kill the scout ants, because they will take that poison and take it back to the colony, and that creates a way to get rid of them. And so, but we are down to, this week we've seen 3 ants. What that essential oil does with the lemon and the citrus and the lavender and the white vinegar and the water, it disrupts their pheromones and their sense of pheromone. And a pheromone is what an ant or a wasp leaves that puts, it's how they find their way. It's how they find their way back. If you're dealing with carpenter bees, for instance, that bore into the side of your wood house, they leave a pheromone in there, and that's the way the bee gets back to where it come from, and they'll come back to that pheromone. Well, when you spray that natural coating, it disrupts their sense of the pheromone, and they get confused. And man, I'm telling you, that stuff makes them flee. And then we put the bait traps down, and for the particular ants we got, because the only thing they touched in our pantry was brown sugar. They devoured a bag of brown sugar, didn't touch anything else, didn't touch pasta, didn't touch rice, didn't touch anything in our pantry. So that's a natural defense that takes a while to work. It doesn't work immediately, but it does take a while to work. And that's if you're worried about toxins and those kinds of things in your house, that's an opportunity. One of the things that I wanted to tell you about is I saw a good tip, and I wanted to share this. If you're having trouble with ants getting to your pet's food dish, just take a baking pan, like you use, to make brownies or a cake or whatever, and put your dog bowl inside the baking pan, and then fill it up with the food that you're going to give to the dog or cat or whatever it is, and put about 1 inch of water in there. And then the ants can't cross the water to get to the food, but the pet can also drink the water while it's eating the food. I thought that was a pretty neat idea.
That is a good idea. Huh. Wouldn't have thought of that.
Me either. That's why I stole it. Let's go to the phone lines.
Now, wait a minute. Before we go to the phone lines,
yeah,
this is Brian on line 1.
Yeah.
And I want you to know, before we go to him, that he said between the two of us, you and I, that
just me and you talking.
He likes me the best. So.
Well, I know that.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to.
He's made it clear.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want you to know that I acknowledge that you're the better of you're the better one of our halves.
I got to brag a little bit.
You got to. Absolutely. Well, when you get a chance, you got to take it. Brian, is that true? Do you like Vance better than you like me? Is that what I understand to hear here?
Well, the thing with Lance is I keep getting things in the mail that he's giving me free hamburgers from Burger King. So he's bribing me.
Well, is that kind of like I'd gladly pay you tomorrow for a hamburger
Pay
today?
you Tuesday for a hamburger today?
Yeah, exactly. How you doing, brother?
Good, sir. And I don't mean to throw a curveball at you. I know you've been talking about this, and I've been meaning to reach out to you in regards to my wife and I. We're about ready to retire, and we're looking at different motorhomes.
Yeah.
And what we're finding out is, first of all, you don't want a motorhome that has a pop out. Does that make sense to you?
A slide?
Yeah, slide. That's it.
It depends on where the slide is, because sometimes if the slide is, depending on where it is in the motorhome itself, it makes it difficult when you stop for a short time. You get, for instance, in my travel trailer, you have to go through the front bedroom to get to the bathroom when you stop. But you cannot use the kitchen unless you run the slide out. So that can be difficult if you're stopping for lunch. And you don't want to have to run your slides out, put your jacks down, run your slide out, because if you don't, then the slide can get out of whack. And yes, it does make sense. So yeah, that can be a definite issue. But if it's a slide that's in a bedroom, and you don't have to access that for a stop, then I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with the slide.
Okay. And my wife and I have been following you, and what I'm catching is we're better off looking at a used motorhome at a dealership with the extra backup warranty versus the brand new motorhome with the ongoing problems because of poor workmanship. So what's the name of a good motorhome that we can reach out to and to be able to tow a car trailer and enjoy our retirement and still be comfortable?
Well, I think that's a great question, and you're all right. And there are so many out there, but here's the truth, Brian. There's really about 4 companies that make every motorhome in the country, or every travel trailer in the country. When you talk about, I can't think of his name right now, but it'll come to me. He owns Sea Ray Boats. It's the corporation. He owns Brunswick. He owns, he's one of the wealthiest men in America, and I can't think of his name at the moment, but it'll come to me. Welcome to late 50s. But it's just like everything. There are a few companies that may have 20 brands under their name. The reason I think that you're better off to purchase a good used home, in my opinion, and if I was, it's the reason we like Weekend RV Center, because I know that Xavier and John Tyler and the team are going to tell me, they're not going to sell something that they can't stand behind. But here's the deal: when they get a home that's on a trade-in, when they bring that home in, their team is going to go through that home, and if that home has minor issues that need to be fixed, or there's minor problems with it, they're going to fix it and keep it and put it on the lot, because they want to sell a good value and they want to give a good product. And it doesn't matter who the brand is. If they find it to be a good home, they're going to keep it. If they find it to be a home that they know have problems and those kinds of things, they're going to wholesale it. Because just like they do with cars, it's the same thing in a car dealership. If somebody trades a car in, it's a good car, it's been maintained, it doesn't have big problems, and they can fix it and resell it, that's just going to make a happy customer. So it's the same thing in the mobile home industry. COVID was a disaster for travel trailers and manufactured RVs, because they were having to put them out so quick that they lost track of quality. So when you think about it, for me, I would think about Coachman makes a product that's a good RV. course, Forest River does some stuff. I mean, and now when you get up and you start talking about Mercedes and some of those RVs, then you're talking about a different level. But you're talking about a Class B van that's small that you're going to pay $120,000 for. So that's a whole different ball game. But if you're talking about, you know, a Coachman or a Winnebago who's been around a long time, I like both those brands. Fleetwood has some good brands. You know, if the most important thing is to find a good, reputable company that is going to go through it, because they don't want problems with it either, and they're going to fix what needs to be fixed. And if they know it's an issue, they're not going to keep it on the lot. They're just not going to, if they're a good reputable company like our friends at Weekend RV Center. And so a lot of times I pick up the phone and I call Xavier and say, you know, just like we're looking to maybe trade from our travel trailer into tag along into a fifth wheel, so that we can have you know, more headspace and that kind of stuff, and maybe looking to go to the lake and stay there. So, you know, I picked up the phone and I called Xavier, and he said, hang on, I'll tell you exactly what it's worth. And he'll also tell me, well, they have problems with this, Ricky. You need to make sure that that's done. Whether it's a problem with a leak in a slide. The reason people say, other than the inconvenience of the slide being in the way when you're traveling and you just want to stop for lunch, the other thing that's an issue is slides leak. They do.
Yes.
And what happens is on either side of that slide, there is a trim piece where the metal comes down. And so they lay the subfloor on the bottom of the slide. And when they do that, it's a raw edge right there. And so they'll put a little tiny bead of caulk. Well, that caulk moves as that slide moves in and out. So what happens is the rain ends up running down the side of the slide, and it goes behind that trim piece because it's not sealed properly. And then it gets sucked into the wood subfloor on the slide itself, and it'll rot about the first 6 inches. And that is a really, really common issue. I have that on one of mine that now that I know, I went outside and I took some T-Rex underwater tape, and I taped that, and it stopped it. So, you know, it's just knowing what to do and how to do it. But I wouldn't let a slide prevent me, because it's going to give you extra space when you are parked, as long as it didn't prevent me from using my kitchen and my bathroom when I was stopping for lunch. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, and we were looking at a couple of motorhomes that had two slides,
Mhm.
and listening to you, it's better to buy a used motorhome that is covered under a warranty from a dealership instead of buying a brand new one. Am I reading that wrong?
No. You know, I don't have a problem with buying something brand new if you're willing to take the hit. Now, we've been fortunate that the marketplace is like my travel trailer is worth as much as I paid for it. And it's 3 years old. I got you, Brian.
You want to just cut it?
Cut what?
Break.
No, we just put it on the end.
Okay.
And that we'll have a long break at the end.
Gotcha.
So, but if I can find a good used motorhome that I know's been through and the team's looked at it, then absolutely. I mean, there's savings there. I mean, that's just all there is to it. Some folks like and I'm not discouraging purchasing a new home, but I'm also, it depends on what I'm trying to do. If this is something I'm going to keep and it's something that I'm going to utilize a lot of, then, you know, I kind of like, I don't have a problem with as the market is today, as long as I've got the warranty. The warranty's key. You know, it's key. Roof leaks, soft spots, all those kinds of things. So, you know, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna look at a used home myself when I trade, but I also may buy a new one because you know, there's some deals out there. It's just really a matter of, you know, if I'm gonna use this thing on the weekend and it's not something I'm gonna live in like what I do now, yeah, I'm I'm going to look at new and I'm going to look at used, but it's not going to be very old. That's what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. So my question to you going forward, what brand would you recommend for something that's a couple of years old? That, it has maybe 10 or 18,000 miles on it.
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of people saying, "Hey, I've got this motorhome. It's in beautiful condition, but I lived in it for a year and a half, and now I'm trying to sell it. I don't want to buy a motorhome where somebody has lived in the thing for a year and a half."
Well, here's the problem with that. The problem with that is that when you purchase that home, you don't know what that person has done that's lived there, if they've done proper maintenance, if they've flushed the black tanks properly, if they've maintained the things that you need to maintain in a motorhome properly. You don't know if they've maintained the seals. I mean, once a year we have ours cleaned by a professional, the seals reconditioned. We're going to dump that black tank and not let that get that solids get built up in the tank. And we're going to do those things. I mean, and you can get into a bunch of money. And what happens is if you don't buy in my opinion, if you don't buy a used home from a dealer like our friends at Weekend RV, they're going to check all that. So that you've got a warranty that's against that. That homeowner, you don't have any idea if they've done it or not. All you know is what they're telling you. And they may not have known to do it. I'm not saying they're being deceitful. I'm just saying that in motorhomes, something that I'm going to spend a great deal of time in, I don't have a problem buying new. Or if I'm going to buy used, I'm buying it from a dealer, and a reputable dealer, preferably a mom and pop dealer like our friends at Weekend RV.
So what is Winnebago your top 5?
Winnebago's in my top 5. I think Coachman makes a good product as well. I haven't really looked as much as if I was going to buy a travel trailer. I've been really happy with Forest River. They've done a good job for us. I know there's all kinds of things about Forest River out there, but they've done a good job for us. We've had great success with our product, and it's held their value. Also, Keystone is another brand that does a fantastic job that we've been satisfied with. And then the outside of the coach, whether you're going to do a Class C or a Class A, have you decided between a Class C and a Class A? Class C has a van front end, like a box truck.
Yeah, my wife likes that one. I'm the other way on the other one, but she likes the Class B a lot more with the van front end type of thing.
Yep. That's a Class C. A Class B is an actual van, and then a Class C has a van front end but a big box behind it, and then a Class A. It has a flat front typically, and then you have what's called a Super C. Now, if I was going to buy and I was going to travel and I had the money to do so, I would buy a Super C. A Super C is a tractor with a box on it.
Okay.
Now that's going to travel.
And what brand is that?
They all make one. I would Google Super C. Typically they'll have a Kodiak cab on them. Is the majority of them, and Super C. And I will do some research on that and have better information for you on next week's show. I just hadn't had time to look at it like I needed to.
Do you recommend, and you being on the road for 3 years, do you recommend a gas type motorhome or a diesel type motorhome to be a transport?
Well, and I've got about 30 seconds to answer this question. I apologize. A diesel is going to provide for you better gas mileage. If you're going to be in mountainous areas, you're going to want a diesel. The V10 gas is going to get about 5 to 8 miles to the gallon. Diesel's going to do a lot better than that. But here's the downfall to a diesel. The downfall to the diesel is that when you go to work on it, it's like working on one of your hot rods. you're going to have to get deep in the billfold. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah, it does.
Right. So you get the benefits of the longevity. You can put 1 million miles on it, but the other side of that is it's expensive to maintain. Brother, I appreciate you. You can always hit me up, but I'm out of time. I've got to go to a timeout, and that'll be the end of the show. And call me back next week, and we'll talk about it.
Thanks for everything, Rick. I always trust your advice.
Thank you, brother. Always good to have Brian on the program. Thank you all for joining us. Stay tuned for William the Encourager, Inspired to Succeed. He's got some good stuff coming up next. You're listening to Rick's House. Thank y'all for joining us. Grab them babies, love them, and hug them. I promise you, you just don't never know. God bless you. We'll see you next time.
Plumbers since 1989. We're not a franchise or a branch of some huge company from out of town. We're your friends, neighbors, and part of your community. Let us take care of all of your plumbing needs, and we'll treat your home as if it were our own. Sanders Plumbing. Quality service for quality people. Call 922-9175.